You open your eyes and you are already behind. Not metaphorically, mathematically. The detonation has just rewritten the physics of your immediate environment. And in the time it took your brain to register the flash, the light you saw was already ancient history. The pressure wave is moving. The radiation is moving. The fallout is organizing itself into a cloud that will drift with wind patterns you cannot predict and cannot outrun. You have approximately 15 minutes to make decisions that will determine whether you are alive in 2 weeks. And the first thing most people do, the thing hardwired into every human nervous system by millions of years of evolution, is precisely, mechanically, the wrong thing. They look toward the source. The flash from a nuclear detonation peaks in the ultraviolet and X-ray spectrum before it transitions to visible light. If you were close enough to see the fireball clearly, you have already received enough retinal energy to cause temporary or permanent flash blindness. But that is not what kills you. What kills you is the 2 to 5 seconds you spent oriented toward the blast instead of moving perpendicular to it. 2 seconds. Physicists at Los Alamos calculated overpressure arrival times for various yield detonations. At 1 mile from a 1 megaton airburst, you have roughly 17 seconds between the flash and the arrival of the pressure wave. You just spent 2 of them staring. You have 15 left. The universe has already started your clock, and you didn't hear the starting pistol. This is the 15-minute algorithm. It is not a motivational framework. It is a hard physical constraint. The actions you take in the first 15 minutes post-detonation determine your radiation exposure ceiling for the entire event. Fallout begins descending within minutes for ground bursts. Heavier particles, the ones carrying the highest radioactive load, fall first and fast. They are already in the air above you. They are settling. Every second you spend outdoors, oriented toward the wrong direction, frozen in the very human response of shock and curiosity, is a second the fallout physics are running without your input. The algorithm does not pause for grief. It does not pause for the instinct to find your family. It does not pause because you are a good person who deserves more time. It runs. And almost every survival instinct you have is calibrated to kill you in this specific scenario. The instinct to help injured bystanders near the blast radius. The instinct to retrieve your car and drive away. The instinct to call someone. The instinct to look for official guidance. Every one of these responses adds minutes to your outdoor exposure time during the window when fallout concentration is increasing fastest. The people who survived Hiroshima in the highest numbers were not the ones who responded heroically. They were the ones who moved immediately, laterally, into the nearest substantial structure and stopped moving. Unheroic. Statistically correct. Now you are inside. You have done the first thing right. And now you will begin killing yourself with your own hands. The instinct in a sealed environment is to make it comfortable, to make it survivable long term. You light a candle because the power is out. You run a small camp stove to heat water because you have read that hydration is critical in survival scenarios. You run a generator in the attached garage because you need to charge your communication devices. Each of these actions is introducing carbon monoxide into a sealed space. Carbon monoxide is colorless. It is odorless. It has a binding affinity for hemoglobin approximately 240 times greater than oxygen. It does not announce itself. It does not give you time to make better decisions. It causes confusion, then drowsiness, then unconsciousness. And it does all of this while you believe you are simply tired from the stress of the situation. The sealed shelter you built to keep radiation out is now a gas chamber. You built it. You lit the match. The radiation outside is following known decay curves. The carbon monoxide inside is following your behavior. You are the variable that is out of control. This is the operational reality of the quiet killer. It is not a rare edge case. Carbon monoxide poisoning in disaster scenarios is one of the leading non-trauma causes of death precisely because the actions that produce it feel like survival. Combustion plus sealed space plus time equals lethality. The formula does not care that your intentions were correct. Assume you survive this. Assume you have a battery-powered carbon monoxide detector and you are smarter than the average casualty. You are now in hour 3 of your shelter stay. The radiation outside is still at a level that will deliver a lethal dose within hours of continuous exposure. You know this because you have a Geiger counter and you have been monitoring it. The readings are dropping. You remember reading something about radiation decay. You think, it has been 3 hours. Surely it is safe enough to move. It is not. The rule of sevens is one of the most important and most misunderstood pieces of nuclear physics in civilian survival literature. Radiation intensity from fallout does not drop linearly. It drops by a factor of 10 for every 7-fold increase in time elapsed since detonation. At 1 hour post-detonation, you have a reference intensity of 1. At 7 hours, that intensity is 1/10. At 49 hours, 1/100th. At 343 hours, roughly 2 weeks, 1,000th. The decay curve is steep early and then flattens. This means that the difference between leaving at hour 3 and leaving at hour 7 is not marginal. It is not a matter of degree. It is a factor of 3 to 4 times the radiation exposure. Your impatience is not a personality flaw in this context. It is a dosimetry decision with permanent physiological consequences. Boredom is not a feeling here. Boredom is a cause of death. And while you are waiting, correctly, patiently, you reach for the potassium iodide tablets you prepared. You take them. You feel, for the first time in days, that you have done something proactive, something that will protect you. You are experiencing a psychological artifact that the actual physics do not support. Potassium iodide does one thing. It saturates your thyroid gland with stable iodine, blocking the uptake of radioactive iodine 131. I-131 has a half-life of 8 days. It is a real threat in the immediate aftermath of a nuclear event. The iodide tablet addresses that threat partially and within a narrow time window. It does nothing, not one measurable thing, for Cesium-137, which has a half-life of 30 years and mimics potassium in your body's metabolic processes. It does nothing for strontium-90, which has a half-life of 29 years and accumulates in bone tissue, irradiating your marrow from the inside. It does nothing for external gamma exposure, which is the primary radiation threat during the fallout period you are currently enduring. The tablet in your hand is a single shield in a multi-vector assault. It is not nothing. But the psychological effect, the sense of protection, of having taken action, of being safer, is precisely calibrated to make you underestimate the actual threat profile. The iodine tablet is most dangerous, not as a toxin, but as a sedative. It sedates your risk perception at the exact moment maximum vigilance is required. If you are watching this channel, subscribe now, because the information you are being given here is not available in a neat package anywhere else. Like this video, the algorithm rewards it, and unlike most survival systems you have been sold, the algorithm actually functions on known, testable inputs. You have now been sheltered for the correct duration. Your dosimetry calculations are sound. You are ready to move. You need to reach a safer location. You know the metro system runs below the city. Large, concrete, underground. Your brain, which is very good at identifying enclosed protective structures, flags this as an obvious asset. Walk past it. Subway tunnels are pressure wave amplifiers. A blast overpressure event that would be survivable at street level becomes channeled, concentrated, and multiply reflected inside a tunnel system. The geometry that makes a tunnel structurally sound also makes it a near-perfect conduit for destructive wave energy. The Leningrad siege is instructive here, not because of blast physics, but because of what enclosed mass shelter scenarios do to human behavior at scale. Panic in a tunnel does not behave like panic in an open space. Exit points are limited, fixed, and known to everyone simultaneously. Stampede dynamics in enclosed spaces produce casualty numbers that dwarf the initiating threat. Add smoke. Add particulate fallout concentrated at entry points. Add the psychological state of a population that has been sheltered for days and is now moving in a state of acute stress. The metro is not shelter. The metro is a funnel with a fixed number of exits and an unlimited supply of people who all believe they have just had the same good idea. Hiroshima survivors who sheltered in reinforced concrete buildings at moderate distances showed dramatically better outcomes than those who sheltered in enclosed communal spaces with poor ventilation and limited egress. The data is not ambiguous. The physics is not ambiguous. The only ambiguous variable is whether you will override the instinct that is pointing you underground. This is what the channel exists to tell you. Not that survival is impossible, not that the situation is hopeless.